Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another week, another Saturday. We're about 15, 16 days into the year, Collin.
This year's gonna fly by before we know it,
It's
and
already flying by. We're
and it's
already
gonna
like
be
halfway through it.
it's gonna be the fall, and we're gonna be playing like Last Guardian, and
Oh, you mean the spring?
I'm sorry. Oh, spring.
Uh-huh.
No. That's
Welcome
fall.
again to Collin Curtis in the morning. I think this is episode 21. We're
I
going to
think
go
it
with
is
that.
two. Yeah.
So it's man, it was a weird not a lot of stuff happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a light news week, as you might call it.
Yeah.
We got a few things. We're just gonna kick off with this one. So, Inside My Radio was announced for and is coming out next week on PS4.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll say, like, I first heard of, like, I just heard the title Inside My Radio, and I thought this was that what's that Radios and Towers game?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
But yeah,
of it.
I was thinking it was that game.
Nope.
But yeah, then I looked it up and I was like, oh wait, nah, never mind.
So this is a rhythm platformer, we'll call it. So I actually, there's a lot of things I could say about this, but I don't want to spoil anything because we have a gameplay glimpse that Eric and I recorded that's going up next week, probably Tuesday. And all I really want to say is be sure to watch that video. Because there are some things in that video that are pretty crazy. There is an Easter egg in there that will blow your mind. Maybe.
I'm looking forward to it.
But that said, like it's actually a really cool looking game. Like I'm actually excited to try it for myself. As you're playing, there's the music has a very specific rhythm that it goes with, and so you can actually only jump to the beat. So if you hit the jump button and it's out of rhythm, you don't jump. You're only jumping if you're hitting it to the beat. So there's like this kind of rhythm element to it, which is really cool. And then also, like, Eric was showing me that if you have this, like, if you have to have the sound down, or maybe you're having a hard time keeping up with the beat, you can turn on this little toggle that will actually, it goes back and forth between the top and bottom of your character, and that represents the beat as well. So once it hits these little nodes that are like wrapped around your character, that's another way for you to visually see like when you need to be hitting the jump button, or when you can like dash through objects and whatnot. It's a really cool little like puzzle platformer with like a rhythm element involved. And there's the boss fight that we start the video with is very cool, and especially if you are familiar with another rhythm game that maybe showed up on PS4 recently. You might enjoy this. So Inside My Radio is out next week on PS4. We'll have video and coverage of that game next week.
It kind of gave me like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, I don't know, just watching the trailer, it gave me like almost like a Sound Shapes kind of vibe. But like not like hanging on walls and platforms, but like, I guess just grabbing things to the beat. And but I think
maybe.
I think like the like being able to only jump when you hear like when the beat hits, like
maybe.
that's kind of like, it's like a unique kind of twist on it.
Sort of, kind of. I didn't really get that, but I can see where you would.
Yeah.
So we also got Crypt of the NecroDancer. This is coming out February 2nd on PS4 and Vita. So this is also another rhythm game. It's kind of a dungeon crawler roguelike rhythm game. The trailer I watched had some pretty great music. Apparently they got a new soundtrack, or not new soundtrack, but a new song from the composer of Shovel Knight, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This has been out on PC for some time, and I've heard very good things about it, so I'm excited to check it out. I think Crypt of the NecroDancer is a pretty great name for a rhythm roguelike kind of sort of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's much more to add on that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you have to move to the beat, kind of thing, like, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Now I'm
much
thinking
like Inside My Radio, it's very very rhythm based.
well, now I'm almost thinking it's like I know I'm comparing things that I probably shouldn't, but it's like it almost looks like Nova 111 to me.
Oh,
That, like you're each like taking a turn and like they're each like moving one spot like every second.
that's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, it looks fun. I would say like if I just kind of had seen the game like on silent or something like that, like I probably like wouldn't care all that much. But like knowing it's kind of like a rhythm, kind of like almost like a rhythm, maybe combat roguelike.
Yeah.
Thing.
Well, and this is not to make fun of what you just said, but
Okay.
I feel like if you see any rhythm game on silent, it kind of loses some of its luster.
Well, sure, but I guess,
Yeah,
but going
but I know
into
what you
it,
mean. I know what you mean.
but if you didn't know if it was a
Yeah.
rhythm game, to
Yes,
begin
because
with.
obviously this doesn't necessarily look like a rhythm game. Yeah. So, anyways, also I cannot for the life of me remember it, but when I was listening to the Giant Bomb Game of the Year stuff, they were talking about this game, and I guess the shopkeeper. Oh, I cannot for the life of me remember that the shopkeeper apparently has a name that is a fantastic pun. That you know, as I'm sure you're aware, my love of puns
I like puns.
was triggered there. Well, good. I'm glad you do.
Yeah.
More people need to appreciate the power of puns. Let's keep going. We
Trying to
got
think of a pun right here, but I just can't.
Let's
Not
move
very
on
good
to
at
our
it.
third news story. Not a Hero. It's also coming out on February 2nd. This is coming to PS4. So you read me a quote right before we recorded from Roll7,
Yeah.
who you may know from Ollie Ollie. That's kind of the other game that they did. And that quote specifically was that the Vita version they had planned is just not working out.
Yeah.
Do you still have that quote pulled up?
I do not.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean, it basically was that it wasn't working out. They didn't like confirm that they were not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But it seemed very unlikely.
Yeah.
So, I do have some things pulled up about Not a Hero though that I wanted to briefly share.
Okay.
So there is just a couple of things. One, I have the website because Devolver Digital is publishing Not a Hero, and under the boastful praise category, which is just quotes from other media outlets, there's a quote from Eurogamer, and that says Not a Hero is a 2D Vanquish, and that speaks to my heart in a way that not many people can. I don't know how you feel about Vanquish, Collin, but it is the best third-person shooter.
Ever?
Yes, asterisk, with the asterisk being, I might be forgetting something, but Vanquish is pretty incredible.
You are forgetting something.
Okay.
And it was, I believe, that was Shinji Mikami did Vanquish. Am I
Sure,
right?
sure.
I think he did that. I'm assuming. I think he did when he was with Platinum for like a very short time.
I think that you may be correct.
I might be completely wrong. But his previous game, Resident Evil 4,
No, I'm not forgetting that one.
is the best third-person shooter of
Well,
all time. / horror game.
I don't know that I. Well, oh boy,
/
let's not get into this
survival horror.
conversation.
Yeah.
Also, I want to briefly read some of the description for Not a Hero, which is, when an anthropomorphic rabbit mayoral candidate for the future named Bunny Lord needs a murderous loner to clean up the city during the election, Steve heroically offers up his dubious skills with a gun and lack of self-preservation instinct to this mysterious stranger from beyond. Apparently this is a... Oh, also, at one point they describe it as a 2 1/4 D side-scrolling shooter, which I found really funny.
Yeah, I think where that comes in maybe is that like you can hide. Like,
Yeah,
you can kind of take
but
cover.
and it's not like, and there's like a slight angle to it, which is just, I don't know. It's funny that they put the quarter in there, but I guess it's a 2D kind of cover shooter. And you said you played this, and it's pretty hard.
I played this like a while ago. So it was like PAX Prime 2019 would have been 2014. So it'd been like August of 2014. I played Not a Hero. Played it on PC as like for like a really short slice. But from what I remember, it was fun but very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like was kind of like out of my league with doing the WASDs and all
The
that
WASDs.
the WASDs and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's really cool. Like there's like different buildings that you're like going into, and there's like almost kind of like hidden areas and almost like maybe shortcuts. So like each kind of building, you know, has like a level, but then it's got like windows that you can bust out of.
Mm-hmm.
And there's kind of like certain paths, like or like there's kind of like, oh, like I wonder if I can get down here, and then like you break the window, and you know you can somehow, like if there's a like a floor right below you that doesn't have a staircase, you can like bust out the window and then do like some dodge roll and then go the other way and bust right into the window below you.
Right.
So it seems like there could be like a lot of maybe hidden areas, something like that. I don't know, but I enjoyed it.
It looks cool, and I mean, Roll 7 has done some good stuff. Like Ollie Ollie is not necessarily my cup of tea, but I can appreciate that game for what it is. Also, Ollie Ollie is actually gets really hard too. I remember playing like Ollie Ollie 2, I think, last year, and there was one particular level that just took me forever to get past. So that's gonna do it. I mean, it was a very light news week. There's some other like odds and ends, but this was specifically stuff that's actually coming out pretty soon. There were some other dates we got for like later in February, but we'll get to those when we get closer to that.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I will gladly go ahead. I got to make this transition worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking about Not a Hero.
Being not a hero, yeah.
And being not a hero. Well, let's talk about some everyday heroes.
Some everyday heroes in your life.
Some everyday heroes brought to you by
Square Enix.
brought to you by Square Enix and Don't Nod Entertainment.
So I wanna start off with this. So Life is Strange, our game of the year for PSN stores last year. One of the things we talked about, and we're not gonna spoil anything. We'll be very careful about that. But one of the things we talked about in one of our spoiler episodes was that if you go to the Life is Strange website, or like on their website, one of the pages has a link to like suicide prevention hotlines and anything like of that matter, right?
Yeah.
Because the game deals with a lot of very real and very serious subject matter, we'll say. And it's a number of different things, not just one or two. But we were talking about how cool it is that we thought, or how cool we thought that it is that they would have that on their website as like an acknowledgement of that, because it felt like, I mean, this is a game that very much reaches a very specific audience, I think, and especially when you consider the subject matter it deals with. Like I thought it was really cool, and I even mentioned in my personal video for my top 5. When talking about Life is Strange, that it would be cool if the stuff that happened in this game maybe led to more people getting help that they needed. Well, branching off of that, Collin, Square Enix has gone and taken a concept out of Life is Strange and kind of built it up as a cool little like helpful tool to use to help with like anti-bullying and things like that. So they've partnered with a group called Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have created this Everyday Heroes thing. So the Everyday Heroes contest in Life is Strange, if you have not played the game, was basically you were a photography student, and so you had to enter a photo. It was a photo contest. You had to enter a photo into the Everyday Heroes contest, basically. So they have taken that, made it like a hashtag or whatever, and I guess every time if you tweet out with the hashtag Everyday Heroes an example of a time that you've gotten through a tough time, or you've been a hero to someone else, or like any number of things, Square Enix will actually donate money to Pacers, which is, they have this national anti-bullying thing set up. Their National Bullying Prevention Center tagline, "The end of bullying begins with you." So there's a website that you can go to, we'll link. It has some information about the Life is Strange stuff. Share a story with hashtag Everyday Heroes. When you overcame adversity, stood up for what's right, helped a friend in need, etc.
And there's even a trailer they put out. It was about maybe like a 2-minute trailer. And is it mostly Chloe like the character, the actress who plays Chloe, or is there a little bit of Max in there? I couldn't tell.
I think there's some lines from the game, but there's actually like new recorded lines from Ashley Birch, who played Chloe. Talking specifically about being an everyday hero and what this initiative is about, basically. So if you've not played Life is Strange, and you will at some point, because it's a retail, I think next week actually is when the retail copy comes out.
It's like the limited edition.
So I wouldn't watch that video. It doesn't, like, it's got maybe some light spoilers for the first couple episodes, I think.
Yeah, I'd say
nothing major, but although there is one specific thing it shows from episode 2 that you probably don't want to see if you haven't played the game.
Yeah.
But you can get all the information that it has in that video just from reading the Pacers website or the thing that Square, like the press release that was put out about this. But I think you and I are in agreement that this is a really cool initiative, and it's a great way to kind of take something that was from the game and kind of make it something more, especially when you consider what the game dealt with. So,
I kind of going back to the thing you were saying earlier. Like I feel like there are other games that sometimes deal with kind of mature, kind of dark themes, but like they don't really like say like, hey, if you need help, contact whatever, contact like a charity kind of thing that that does stuff. But this is good on them, I would say.
Good on all of you for taking an opportunity that I feel like most people don't. It's the type of thing that we get a lot of people come out and say, like, we hear a lot of people, say like trigger warnings or whatever, because maybe this thing has something in it that affected you at some point, and you might not want to read it because you might remember that moment, and that might trigger something, an emotional response in you. And so I thought, while whatever your feelings are on that, like, I thought it was cool that in this instance with Life is Strange, they were very forthright in saying, hey, if anything in this affected you at some point in your personal life, like, you should seek help. You should talk to someone. There are people who are willing to talk to you. And that was kind of the overwhelming message of that game anyways. It was, being the everyday hero. And so it was a great chance to make that something more than what it already was. And to branch that out. So I'm glad that these are doing that, because like I wrote that last little line in my top 5 video for Life is Strange. But I had no idea that this was actually in planning. And I'm glad that it's come to fruition. So we wanted to put that in here as well, because it's been a light news week. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about, and I thought it was probably... you're the one who actually brought it up right before we recorded. Luckily, so we didn't forget about it, but I think it's important to kind of to bring that up as well, and that's a pretty cool little initiative that Square Enix and Pacers and Don't Non are doing. But with that said, Collin, we've reached the end of the show. This is much shorter than we've been in a very long time, which is a good thing. We want to get back down to this length.
Yes, but we've got some stuff to check out. All I see is all these gameplay glimpses. Check them all out. All these gameplay clips. So yeah, we just, I think the best way to go about this, because a lot of the stuff we have under the stuff to check out part of these show notes, you should just go to our YouTube channel. We've been putting up videos every single day, Monday through Friday, for mostly a month now. Other than like Christmas time, there was a couple days that were missed for obvious reasons. But really, like, coming up, I would say over a month now, we've been having videos on every single day, whether it's a gameplay glimpse or a review. Obviously, the Dark Cloud playthrough is going strong. We're coming up on the end of it. I would say there's maybe 2 weeks left, I think is a fair guess. Okay. There's not much of that game to go. And then I think Eric actually might be doing Rogue Galaxy. Okay, next. Well, I was gonna say I'm sure all of our listeners, burning questions. That Dark Cloud 2 is coming to PlayStation 4. Will there be a Dark Cloud 2 playthrough?
No, not in the works. Not yet.
My heart.
I kind of want to just enjoy that game at my own pace.
Sure.
After having taken over a month to play through Dark Cloud. Although I will say I'm extremely excited for Dark Cloud 2. Part of me, the selfish part of me, is like, man, you should. Don't put that game out now. I'm still not finished with Dark Cloud.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I'll buy it next week because I'm an idiot, and and then I'll play it once I finish Dark Cloud. I might, we might do something on it, but in Dark Cloud related news, they did put out a patch for that game, which is cool. They there was a little graphical bug that showed up in some cutscenes, and they patched it out. All right. I thought that was really neat because you wouldn't really expect that from the PS2 and PS4 stuff, but nope, they're doing that stuff, which is cool. You should also check out our podcast from earlier this week. It was episode 157.
What was that titled? Was it just 157?
I don't know that I don't think there was a title because I sat there for like 20 minutes trying to think of a title, and there wasn't really anything that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
So I really dropped the ball on that one. But check that out. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's where we just tons and tons of content every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, not like ton and every day, but over the course of the week, there's a lot of stuff, and every day there is something new, which is cool. So check that out. Let us know what you think of those videos. And with that, Collin, I think that's going to be the show for us.
Fantastic.
You can follow us. It was fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can follow us at PSN Stores on Twitter. Who are you?
I am at Bossman C Crowder, 2 S's and 2 C's.
And I am.
Who are you?
I am at PS Penguin. That's 2 P's. Of course, as you know, PSP Angwin.
PSP Angwin.
PSP Angwin. If you have questions, you can send them in to podcast at psnstores.com. We got a really cool question for the podcast that we'll discuss this weekend when we record.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you see that or not, but
I think I might have.
It's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna do it. Oh, patreon.com/PSN Stores. If you like what we do, whether that's the podcast, this show, which is also a podcast kind of, the videos, playthroughs, any number reviews, any number of other things. If you like that and feel like you would want to support us, you can do so on patreon.com/PSN Stores. And until next week, Collin, take us out.
We have a massive amount of games coming out.
Yes.
We're going to do our best to try and cover them. It's going to be rough. But definitely with all the big releases coming out next week, I'd kind of like to see what other people are interested in. I know like you're probably interested in like Resident Evil 0. Like you're probably gonna be picking that up.
Maybe.
So maybe stuff like that. But I feel like early January is not really, or mid January I guess I should say, isn't really a time to get like that many releases. So it's kind of like there is no winter drought pretty much with all these games. So,
not in 2016.
Not in 2016. The year the dreams come true.
Yep. So we'll do our best to cover everything we can, but we're not heroes. So
yeah, never
was, never will be. That's the Snake line, right? It's something like that. I'm no hero. Never was. I think he says that in MGS4.
I think you.
Someone
maybe.
Someone correct us on that. We'll see you next week.